Good morning and happy Tuesday. Today we're going to be talking about how to be a good friend to an introvert. This is a question that a viewer has submitted via Twitter, and I thought it was such a great question. And I thought it would be something that would be fun to talk about, different than what we usually talk about, but something that would be very interesting to talk about. So good morning and welcome. All settled here. Let's try that. Can you believe that I have not read that book yet? I really should. I need to read it. It's on my must read. Okay, now we're talking about this book, Quiet. I've heard so many good things. You hope all your friends are watching this, Stacy. Okay, so first things first, I am an introvert. And I didn't really realize that I was an introvert. I mean, I kind of suspected, but I didn't really realize for sure that I was an introvert and what an introvert was until I took the Myers-Briggs personality profile. I think it was it 2 years ago maybe? And it's really helped me to embrace the fact that I'm an introvert and that that's okay and that there's nothing wrong with being an introvert. It's my personality and it's everything right about me. But I've had to kind of learn what that means. And so also I feel like some people don't know how to be a friend to an introvert because we can be a little bit of an interesting breed. So this is a question that came from Allison. She said, I am an ENFJ, and those are Myers-Briggs. That's Myers-Briggs personality. If you're not familiar with that, I'm an ENFJ, which means she's an extrovert. But a lot of my friends are introverts. Would love to hear how to best be friends with an introvert. And that was from Allison on Twitter. Yes, an interesting breed. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to be a friend to an introvert. And I actually asked my husband this morning for his input as well because he lives with an introvert and we're not sure, he took the Myers-Briggs personality and it said that he was an introvert, but actually we think that he tends to be more of an extrovert, but probably a low extrovert, which would mean that he's not this total outgoing extrovert, but that he has much more extroverted tendencies than I do. Like, he'll go up and talk to people at the store. He'll go and ask for directions. He'll just make eye contact and talk with people like when we're in the checkout lane, and that's so different than me. But anyway, okay, so how to be friends with an introvert. Oh, whoops, I just blocked Olivia. I did not mean to block Olivia. Okay, number one, understand that they have different capacity. They need more time to recharge. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you. Tell her that I will unblock her as soon as I get done. They need more time to recharge. They can't go. We just can't. We have to take time to recharge. So you need to, if you want to be friends with an introvert, you have to understand their capacity and understand that they have different capacity. And that doesn't mean that they don't love you, that they don't want to spend time with you, but they can't plan to just have all day with you and all the next day with you and all the next day with you. They just can't do that. They need time to recharge. So embrace their personality, embrace this about them, because number two, have deep conversations with them. So one, understand that they have different capacity. Two, have deep conversations with them. Most introverts love going deep. They are not the kind of people to have tons and tons and tons and tons of friends, but they will have a few friends that they will go really deep with. They love depth in conversations. They love those small, either one-on-one or just a few people in a conversation, having a really deep conversation. So they love going deep. They love it when people will open up and be honest. They love to discuss issues in the sense of usually they're going to want to talk about things from different angles, and some of this is because I have a very analytical personality. But introverts as a whole, I think we want to go deep. We do not do fluffy friendships. We don't do the surfacey stuff. We don't want to talk about the weather. We want to go deep. We want to hear, how are you really doing? We want people to share honestly. We want authenticity. So ask them questions, open up, and be honest with them. Here's the beautiful thing. Introverts can be some of the most loyal and true friends because they only go deep with a few people. So those few people that they go deep with, they care very, very, very much about. And it's not that they don't care about everybody, but they just can't be friends with tons and tons of people because they don't have that kind of capacity. So number one, understand that they have different capacity. Number two, have deep conversations. Number three, allow them space. You need to not take it personally if they need time to recharge. Don't take that personally. Don't take it personally if they don't text you back or call you back right away. And here's one secret. Introverts usually do not like the phone. They will avoid the phone at all costs. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And so text them or email them. That is the best way to contact an introvert. It's not that they don't like to talk to people. It's that being on the phone and being with people takes a lot out of them. Yeah, don't call you, Amira. Yeah, text you, right? Text you or email you or tweet at you. So don't take it personally. Here's the thing that you need to understand is that we do not have all this capacity, but we like to go deep. But when we're going deep in relationships, it takes a lot out of us. And so to give you an example, right now, I have some friends who are going through some really hard situations, hard, heartbreaking, heart-wrenching situations, a few of them. And I have been pouring and pouring and pouring, and it's meant phone calls. Yes, there's been a lot of phone calls, and it's meant, in-person meetings and time together and lots of texts and emails and just lots of pouring. Guess what? That has meant that other relationships have just had to be set aside in a sense that other people aren't getting texted back as often. Other people I'm not able to invite as many other people over or get together with as many other people because I'm pouring into these few people. And I'm pouring into them very well in the sense of that I'm giving every last drop, but I don't have any drops left for many other people. And so my friends who are extroverts are so sweet to understand that just because I don't text them back right away, or even if it takes me 3 days or 5 days, that does not mean that I don't love them. It just means that my capacity has been used up elsewhere, or that I am needing to totally recharge. And that's why I will turn my phone off and turn my computer off and just go into a quiet zone because I need that. So allow them that space and understand that it's nothing about you and everything about them. So the friendship without obligation or expectation is one of the greatest gifts that you can give to an introvert. To embrace their personality, to love the fact that they love to go deep, to love the fact that they care so deeply and pour out so much, but to understand that they can't be all things to all people and that they need that time to recharge. That is a gift that you can give them, and they will be some of the most loyal and true friends if you give them that friendship without expectation or obligation, that you understand. My friend Tam, she'll say, you know what, Crystal, if you don't text me for a week, that is nothing about our relationship and everything to do with probably you are busy or I'm busy or life is just full, and it's nothing about how we feel about each other. And everything to do about just our own personal lives. And so for us to communicate that and get that and understand that, it's a beautiful thing. So number one, understand that they have different capacity. Number two, have deep conversations. And number three, allow them space. For me personally, as an introvert, I think to just be really honest and upfront with people. I will just tell them, you know, I told my friend Tam the first time we met, I said, or a few times after we'd met and we texted some and everything, I told her, I said, I don't do fluffy friendships. So I just need you to know that. If you don't have space in your life for someone to go deep with you and someone to really care about you, that's okay. But I want you to know that when I text you and I say, I'm praying for you, when I text you and say, how are you doing? I'm not just saying that. I really want to know. I really want to know. So answer me honestly. And I get it. If you don't have space in your life for someone else to go deep with you, that's okay. But I want to be honest with you. And I want you to know that this is who I am. And this is where I'm at, and this is the kind of friend that I will be. Now, you don't just go and tell that to someone right away when you meet them. We had some text and some conversations, and she was good friends with other friends, and so I felt like, you know, she was a safe person. If you have read the book called Safe People, it talks about how to kind of recognize someone who's going to be a safe person. So recognizing those people and then just being honest with them. I'm just super honest. I mean, some of our dearest friends, I have just been super upfront with them and said, you know what? We moved to Tennessee and we are looking for community, and we would love to be an authentic community, and we would love to have deep, close friendships. We really care about you, and we would love to develop that kind of friendship with you. However, we understand if that's not where you're at. And so being really honest with people about that, that's developed into some really beautiful friendships. It doesn't always develop into that, but being honest up front, instead of kind of beating around the bush and being like, I think, I'm not really sure, maybe. Just be honest. That is what I really have found to be helpful as an introvert. How do you handle networking events? Can you ask that question a little bit more? Give me a little bit more background on what you're thinking. I'm happy to share more, because I do have to be in a lot of situations where it's people I don't know, where it's business events, where it's blogging events and things like that. I just go and I speak, and so that's an interesting thing when you are an introvert, to be in those situations. So if anyone has any questions, I'd love to answer them. And also, I was going to mention, if you have not taken the personality profile, 16personalities.com. I think that's the site. I should have double checked. 16personalities.com. As an introvert, is it better to have an introvert or extrovert friends? Well, I have really good extrovert friends. Really, really, really good extrovert friends. Heart Sisters by Natalie Chambers-Knapp. I've never heard of that book. Thank you for recommending it. Also, I was going to recommend this book, Quiet. Thank you for putting that. So 16personalities.com. Quiet by Susan Cain. I have not read this book. I have just over and over and over and over again, it has been recommended to me. So I really need to read it. But I've heard that it's super good if you want to understand the introverted people in your life, or you want to understand yourself. Okay, Heart Sisters, I'm going to check that out. What was I going to say? Oh, as far as being friends with an introvert being friends with an introvert, I think it can totally happen, but there's a huge wait list at the library. Yes, must be good. But I think that it's harder. I think it's easier for me, at least, to be friends with an extrovert who embraces my personality as an introvert, if that makes sense. That is easier for me just because two introverts, I found a lot of times it just doesn't seem like that's not to say that I don't have any friends with introverts, but I just feel like I tend to connect more with people who are extroverts, especially ENFPs. ENFPs and our personalities seem to go along really well, as long as they get the fact that I need my space sometimes. Yeah, that's why Erin from Humboldt Homemaker, she's such a good friend, and she's such a good friend to introverts because she understands what two introverts never talk. It's just, it's like they both want to go deep, but they, don't know how to go deep or something. I have had some great conversations with introverts. I'm just saying, as a whole, ENFPs are people who, I think it's because they're more like, they'll keep pursuing you, and they will keep texting you and drawing you out, and as long as they embrace your personality, it can be a beautiful thing. You're drawn to ENFPs too. Is there a site for kids to take the Myers-Briggs test? We had our kids do the 16 personalities test. Our kids are fairly analytical, and so it worked out well for them. Well, I take that back. So our oldest daughter, she's 10, she is an INTJ, just like me, and she is total analytical. And so, of course, what did she do? After she took the profile test, then she spent about 2 hours that night researching what an INTJ was and comparing it to her personality and analyzing the whole thing, and it cracked us up. And then my son, he's an I think he's an INFJ or an something. He's more along the lines of like me, and he's only 6, so I think it's a little bit harder to tell their personality, but he's so funny because then he wanted to know all about what his personality was. And then my second daughter, who's 8, who is our extrovert, when I came home and they'd taken the test, and I came in, and Catherine, my oldest, is like, "Mom, I'm an INTJ. People finally get us. Do you know what an INTJ is?" And she's telling me, I'm like, "I'm an INTJ. Like, I totally get it." And she's going on and on. And then my second daughter, I go, "So what are you?" She's like, I don't know, can't remember. And it just cracked me up because that's the personality differences of the INTJ spending hours and hours researching it out and wanting to know exactly who you are and why you act a certain way. And then my second daughter just sort of being like, whatever, so anyway. Okay, so I was also going to mention, after that squirrely rabbit trail, that welcome, glad to have you here. Okay, so do you go out of your way meeting new people for the networking events? I've learned how to make myself act like an extrovert, if that makes sense. I remember Michael Hyatt, he was telling me one time, talking about how he's an introvert too, and we were talking about being introverts, and he said when he goes to events, he will force himself to act like an extrovert. And so I can muster up the courage and confidence to act like an extrovert at least for a few hours. I cannot do this for hours and hours and hours on end. But if I'm going to be in a situation where I want to meet people and I want to be able to network with people, I know this is a good opportunity, there's some really amazing people there, which is a lot of situations, I'm going to muster up that courage, and I'm going to go and act like an extrovert in the sense of I'm going to go up and I'm going to meet people, I'm going to introduce myself. And I've gotten better and better at this as time has gone on, just because I've had to be in those situations. And so I have a choice of either I can be awkward and really out of place and not talk to anybody, which is not a good thing. And really, honestly, that's selfish, and I'm missing out on so much to be that. Or I can just say, I'm going to act like an extrovert, and I'm going to go up and I'm going to meet people and I'm going to ask questions. And so having kind of some questions at the ready. So I have a few things, depending upon the event, I have a few questions that I will ask, and I'll have kind of 3 questions ready. Say, "Hi, my name's Crystal Payne. What's your name? So where are you from? And so what brings you here? So do you have a blog? Are you a speaker?" Like having these questions ready, and then when they answer, then I can find ways to ask follow-up questions. And that's how I've met some really, really amazing people, is by saying, I'm gonna act like an extrovert. Do you struggle with feeling superficial or fake when not in deep personal conversation? I can get really bored with superficial conversation. And I've had to, sometimes it'll just be like, this is all fluff. And this is so fluffy. But knowing that about my personality, that's helped me to then not be frustrated, to know that other people with other personalities, they love this kind of conversation. They love just shooting the breeze and just, they love that. But so I think for me to embrace their personality and not expect that everyone's always going to go deep with me. For instance, to give you an example, so our Monday group, the women of our Monday group, which for those of you who don't know, our Monday group is a group of about 4 to 5 families, because you can't always get all of us get together every week, but 4 to 5 families who we get together every single week on Monday evenings, and we just hang out and spend time together, and we're committed to doing authentic life together. But the women in that group some are extroverts, some are introverts, and so we did a ladies overnighter a few weeks ago, and we were cracking up. We kind of said at the beginning, we said, you know what? Some of us are going to want to go really deep, and some of us are just going to want to have fun. And so let's have a good mix of this. So what we ended up doing was at dinner at the one restaurant, we had this really deep conversation where we all went around and we shared, what are you celebrating in your life right now? I asked the question and everyone went around and shared what they were celebrating. And it was so cool. It opened up such great conversation. I loved it. But by the end of that, one of the ladies said, okay, so I did the deep conversation thing. Now can we just kind of hang out and have fun? And so we were able to do both. But I think for us to be able to be honest and to be able to know that that deep conversation is almost draining for some personalities, whereas it's very life-giving for other personalities. And so having that good mix and embracing each other's personalities has been a beautiful thing. And I feel like that you learn so much from other people, and you learn so much by going into situations and saying, I can learn something from everyone. And so what can this person teach me? What can I learn from this person, either from how they are, from who they are, from what they know, and being an eager and ready learner in every situation. That helps not only open up so many wonderful conversations, but it helps you to grow so much as a person. So anyway, that was a total squirrely scope today, but I hope that gives you some ideas and encouragement. And 3 p.m. today, I'm going to do a Pinterest Q&A scope, and I also have a special announcement at 3 p.m. Central Time on group boards. We're doing a project where we're collecting group boards. So for those of you who heard my Pinterest scope and you want to get on group boards, or you maybe know some group boards but you'd like to find some others, be sure to come at 3 p.m. Central Time today if you can make it, or watch the replay, because I will be sharing with you about our special project that Amy on my team came up with the idea to do this, and I think it's fantastic so that we can all help one another and cheerlead one another and help others to be able to find great group boards and get on great group boards. So that's at 3 p.m. Central Time. We'll be talking about that, as well as any questions that you have about Pinterest. Be sure to bring them and I will be happy to answer them. So thank you so much for joining us today, and I'm going to hop off and hop back on to do our scope on Just Show Up. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will hopefully see you later.